Hi, everybody. This is Israel Silva, and welcome to the Increase Your Income Challenge. And so I want to help you increase your income. How are we going to do that? With this. We are in week 5 of the Increase Your Income Challenge. And this week, it's called Activating Power-Ups. Activating Power-Ups. That's what we're talking about in week 5. So a question I have for you. What are the people, places, or things that inspire you and encourage you, that make you power up? You think about Super Mario Brothers. I'm going back. That's an older video game that I played as a young kid. And you eat these mushrooms or whatever it was that you ate, and it powered you up. You went from little Mario to big Mario, and you were stronger, faster, better, and you're quicker, and it just powered you. It kept you going. If you want to go way back, there was like Pac-Man, where you would eat a thing and it'd make you bigger, and you could be able to get the ghost and whatnot. And I think in recent days, you have like Angry Birds, and you can eat these power seeds, and you can do those things. There's all these different games you think about where you could power up. So the question I have for you is, what are the people or the places or the things you do that lift you up and encourage you and inspire you, that keep you going? We're going to be talking about that and how that power up is going to help you increase your income. Let's get into it. In this rules of the challenge for the Increase Your Income Challenge, there's really only a few rules here. But number 1 is that you have to use content. That's the lessons we're teaching you. You have to use a community. That's either our community or the community you're making on your own friends and family helping you do the challenge. And the third thing you need is the challenge game format, which we're going to be talking about. And that's always something we bring into this teaching, is the challenge game format. Second thing you need to do is you need to track your progress and how you're doing well. And if you had 4 activities and you got 3 done, your 75% is your score, and you have to work on that. So that's part of tracking your progress. And third rule is help each other. Part of this is being in a community and you helping people helping you. That's how you get sharpened. Fourth thing here is celebrate your victories. Emotional celebration. That's really what it feels good when you achieve your goals. And so you want to celebrate with you. And that's part of what this challenge is all about, is doing all these things in community, learning from the lessons and the content, putting in the work and action, and learning how to increase your income. So what are you going to learn today? Today, you're going to learn how to identify the power-ups and how those power-ups, identifying the power-ups that can help you achieve success. And in this case, success in increasing your income, maybe starting your business, changing your career. Those are one of the number 1 things you want to learn. Second thing is we're going to talk about creating the strategy or the system that will help you to use these power-ups and when to implement them. So let's go into that. First thing to talk about is identifying the areas to power up. And a lot of this is taken from Dr. Jane McGonigal's book called Super Better. So this is science at work, putting the science at work. And I got to think about this, and I have to stop and say, let me take a deep breath and think, why are we using science when we're talking about increasing our income? Think about it for yourself. We want to increase our income. We don't always know how. Otherwise, if we knew how, we would be doing that and not being part of this video or watching this lesson. We need to find out a way we can, it's like baking a cake. You ever got a piece of a cake and you ate it? My mom loves baking cakes, and I'm like, Mom, what's your recipe? She goes, I don't know. I have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And she doesn't have a defined recipe where I can copy what she's doing, but she does a great job in what she does, and she's always tweaking it. And the idea here is getting that recipe and improving on it, where you now can follow that recipe over and over. That's pretty much science. That's the part of trying something, learning from it, and improving on it. And in science, You go and have a study, you have a hypothesis, and you do those things, and then they see the results of their studies. So Dr. Jane McGonigal in that book, the Super Better book, it talked about all these different studies that have been done. And they came up with four areas that we're talking about right here that will help you power up. These are areas that you need to power up. And when they talk about resilience, the word resilience, just think about toughness. So there's physical resilience, mental resilience or mental toughness, emotional resilience, and social resilience. These are the four categories that when you work on identifying how you can power up in these areas, how you can better your toughness in your physical, mental, emotional, and social, when you get stronger in these areas, you're going to be able to approach your business or your career, or whatever that is you're doing, and you're going to be able to succeed. Because when you have these areas and you have strength in these areas, that's when you're down, depressed, hurting, doubting yourself, maybe even ashamed of something you've done, you look to these areas and see where you can power up if you need that emotional toughness. How do you do that? So let's talk about these four areas one by one. Physical resilience. That's the first one we're talking about here. It's a physical activity that will energize you. Physical activity. Now, some examples could be as simple as drinking a glass of water. And, I have a cup. I have a bottle of water. Now, if I come here and that feels so good. Just the nice, good water going down my throat. It powers me up. It energizes me. When my throat is tired from talking, it soothes it. So that is a physical power up. That is a physical toughness. When you drink water, it's going to energize you. It's going to energize your body. That's one of the things our body needs is water. So knowing that physical trait, that physical thing that we can do, it will help us. And you just never know. You could be like making one of the biggest presentations of your life for a company or for your business or your career, defending your thesis or whatever it is. And if you don't drink water and you're like dehydrated, guess what's going to happen? You're going to perform poorly. And that is why physical resilience, that physical toughness is important. So physical resilience could be as simple as drinking water. It could be as stepping outside in the sunlight and wow, just stretching and feeling, oh, this feels so good. Sometimes we need a break and we're tense. We're all like stressed out. I got to get this done. But having that physical break of taking a few seconds or a minute or two just to go out, even if you're stepping out of your office and just look up, and I've done that. Have you ever done that? You ever felt like that helped you? That is important to have that physical break. That's going to energize you. And just the third one here is exercise. I mean, you go for a walk, maybe a walk with your dog. That's going to probably do two things at once. Energize you physically and then maybe socially you're connecting with your dog. But you go for a walk or you go for a jog. And the hardest thing to do any of these physical things is to start. And we'll be talking about that in a few minutes on how to create a strategy. But right now we're just talking about physical resilience. This is one of the areas that you need to develop power-ups, strategies to do these things. These things like drinking water, like stepping outside and stretching, that's a power-up. That is something that you do, an activity that you do that energizes you and lifts you up. And we all need these. These are four areas that science and studies have done that show if we work in these areas and we strengthen ourselves in these areas, we're going to get better. We're going to perform better on the job and in our businesses. So that's number one, physical resilience. Number two is mental resilience. Think about mental toughness. This is going to energize you, this mental activity. Now, one thing, the first one I have here is plan your day, plan your week, etc. Plan your year. My wife, Monica, and I, we do a twice a year, we do a retreat where we basically take 2, sometimes 3 days, and we just plan our year. So we'll do a biannual. So we'll do usually it's around May and December. So those 2 times, we'll take that time and we will think about things that we need to do for the rest of the year, for the next coming months, for next week. We will talk about how we need to work on our finances. What are we planning? Maybe our house, and what are we going to do to that? Maintenance. We plan out activities with people. And I can tell you, after we done these 2 or 3 day retreat, we are energized because we go by a calendar. Like we have a calendar for the year, and then we'll have the calendar for next year. And we will go and I'll put it down what days I want to take on, for vacation and where we want to go. And it's just like planning that out energizes us. And the things that we plan and we put on the calendar, they happen. I mean, last year we planned to take a Disney cruise. And I thought, wow, I've never been on a cruise. I've heard Disney's really good. And we put it on the calendar and we started saving money and putting money aside for that. It was like a year and a half out. It seems so far away every time I looked at the calendar, but we planned it out. We envisioned ourselves doing that. And that mental activity of doing that planning energized us. It made us feel like, ooh, this is going to happen. And I think I've heard it said the story of Walt Disney. He passed away. He died before Disney World in Orlando was built. And people tell his wife, oh, I'm sorry that Walt never got to see this. And she goes, he did. He saw Disney World in his mind's eye over and over and over again. And that's where it came about. First there, he saw it and it came to pass. So it's something about that mental toughness. So planning your day is one. Second thing is take a dedicated rest period. That could be a nap. Oh, how many people love naps? I mean, be serious. Can be honest. Love a nap where you take that nap, especially if you like go to sleep stressed out with something on your mind, like if I need to solve this problem, how do I do it? And then you take this nice restful period. It could be 8 hours of sleep, or it could be just 20 minutes of sleep. And when you wake up, you're like, I didn't think about that. What if I do it this way? What if I ask this person for help? Wow. How all of a sudden did our mind come up with a solution? It's because your mind has only so much mental energy, and you really need to figure out a way to channel that energy. And so sometimes turning things off, i.e. taking a nap of all the other things that are going on and letting your mind focus, even if it's in the subconscious, it's going to focus on solving the problems. That's why sleep is important, not only for your physical, but for your mental capacity. They say when babies are born, they have all these neurons and all these synapses, and they're learning so much. And that's why a lot of times these babies need 11, 12, 13 hours of sleep, because their mind has to process all that information that's coming out. They're seeing people and hearing sounds and learning. And you just see babies' eyes. They're like, why? Wow. I know my son, when they pulled him out of the womb, the nurse lifted him up. And I had a recording, so I had a video on it, and I recorded it. And I loved seeing that image. He didn't come out crying and screaming. He came out and he looked to the left, he looked to the right. And I just saw him. I'm like, oh, he's a thinker. He's going to be thinking. And he asked me 1,000 questions every day now. He's almost 7 years old. And I love that. It's that thinking, that time, that when you come out of a nap, and you come refreshed mentally, where you can take on some things. And the third thing here is creative visualization. If you can imagine it on the inside, if you can see it on the inside, it'll come out on the outside. And it really, the hardest work is going to be creating the plan. Whether you're planning to build a house, you're planning to start a career, you're planning to start a business, this takes mental toughness. It takes that mental toughness to sit down and write out your business plan, write out your career plan, write out your home blueprints and start sketching that up. If you do this, you create the mental toughness, and it will energize you. It'll make you feel good about what you're trying to accomplish. Some of the things I've seen that hurt entrepreneurs or people in business or people who are employees, that hurt them the most is they don't know what they want to do. Hey, what's your vision? I don't know, I want to do X and Y and Z and A and B and okay, what if you had to focus on one thing, what would you do? I I struggle with that. And when you have that struggle of not creatively visualizing what you want to do, and I heard it say visualize in HD, high definition. Like, you see those high definition TVs where you can see the sweat going down the guy, the football player, he's there and his knuckles are turning white and you see the sweat coming down his face. That high definition TV. Because I know when I grew up, I didn't have that. But now you can see it so clearly. You need to visualize your business, your career, your home, your retirement. All those things need to be visualized. And when you do that, that will energize you. That visualizing, what am I going to be doing in 10 years, in 15 years? I want to be traveling. I want to be on a boat. I want to be fishing. I want to have my son or my grandson. I want to be there with my family. That will power you up. That will inspire you. That will inspire you like, oh, I've got this report due. I got this presentation due. I've got this grind. I have to stay up. I'm about to start a 6-hour, portion of work. Think about why you're doing it. Think about your vision. Creative visualization. Imagine the outcome before you begin it. And so it's so important. I used to procrastinate in English 101 in college, and I have like 2 days to get this report, this whatever it was, writing assignment. And I remember going, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to visualize what I'm going to feel like when I finish this, and what the report, what are the article is going to look like. It's going to have the introduction, it's going to have the body, it's going to have the conclusion, and it's going to convey a message. I would see the outcome before the start. Like, begin with the end in mind. Imagine the outcome before you even begin. And that is so important. That develops mental resilience. That's number 2 on the areas that you need to work on for your power-ups. Number 3 is the emotional resilience. Emotional resilience, that's activity that's going to also energize you emotionally. So if you go and you search your phone and you go to your photo sections in your phone, I love that we have pictures in our phones now. If you have a smartphone, if you don't have a smartphone, okay, go get a photo album and start looking at the photo albums. That's old school, but you can do that too. But when you search your photos, look for a photo that's going to make you laugh. It's going to bring you up. It's going to energize you. It could be, your dog or cat, jumping on you, licking your face. It could be your son or daughter giving you a big hug. It could be smiling at a birthday party. What is that photo that could lift you up? Now, maybe you might go on social media and you go to your friend's Facebook page or their Instagram page and you see them, or you see yourself and you go there and you like it and you enjoy seeing that. Maybe somebody just moved into their house, or they just got married, or they just had a child, and you're like, wow. And that lifts you up. I heard Dr. Jay McGonigal said you could go and Google little baby elephants and you go, oh, look at the baby elephant. It just inspires you. Baby elephants and puppies, they inspire you. That will give you emotional energy. It'll uplift you. And you need that sometimes. Whenever you feel like you've had a bad day where everything has gone bad, you've made decisions that were the wrong decision. I mean, we make mistakes. We're human. But it's not beating yourself down on those mistakes. It's finding a way to lift yourself up. This is one of the ways you can lift yourself up, is have this emotional resilience, have this emotional toughness. And doing these activities here of searching for your photos or going to your social media and liking something, finding something that makes you laugh. And also, we don't have to be only visual. We can be auditory. You can find an audio playlist. Create a playlist of music that energizes you. I often, I'm kind of old school, so I remember like Rocky 3 with the Eye of the Tiger and Apollo, and he's just like, Eye of the Tiger, Eye of the Tiger. And, and it's like, it's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight, the rising up to, I can't sing very well, but you get the idea. It like gets me going. And if I go for a run and I play that music, or I'm feeling down and I play that music, it gets me fired up emotionally. I'm ready to go. It energizes me. And that is really so important. Emotional resilience. The third one here is play a video. Play a video of a cherished memory or a person. I mean, sometimes I'll play a video of my father. I get choked up and I start to like cry because my father passed away 4 years ago. But just seeing him and hearing his voice, it chokes me up, but it inspires me to keep going because he always believed in me. He always said, you're going to do things great. You're going to help people. You're going to follow your purpose. I mean, that right there, nothing's going to bring me down. After watching a video of my dad talking to me or playing a song that he used to play the guitar, after hearing that, I mean, nothing's going to bring me down. I am strong. I am able. I have the capability of doing. And so that emotional toughness, you need that when you're going through your toughest days, trying to win some business in some sales or in your career, trying to get that promotion. Or if you're starting off and you're in college and trying to study for that chemistry exam or that physics exam, you need these things. You need some emotional resilience. And these are some things you can do. These power-ups will get you through it. So the fourth one here is social resilience. Social resilience. So when you say social, it's usually activity that's going to energize you when you're doing something social. Like physical hugs is, I'm hugging you guys right now. Giving you guys a big hug. Hugs. I'm hugging you. And I hope you receive that hug. A friend of mine, she would dress up as a clown. And her name of her clown was called Hugs. And she's like, Hugs is here. The clown Hugs. And that really was so indicative of that person. She loved to give people hugs. And when you have that physical hug from a friend or a family member, and it just, like my little boy, he's 6 years old. And when I spend time with him and I go to the park with him and I listen to him and he asks 1,000 questions and I give him time, quality time, he'll hug me and he'll say, Daddy, I love you. And I'm like, oh, you can do anything, any movie you want to go to, any candy you want to go, any toy you want to go, I'm going to buy it for you. And it just lifts me up. That's social, because I'm doing stuff. If I have to work late or work hard, I'm doing it for him. I'm doing it for my wife. When she gives me a hug or she gives me a kiss, that really brings me up. And sometimes I love to buy my wife flowers because I get to give her flowers and I get to see her happy about it. And that's a social resilience. That's a social toughness because I know that I'm doing something for someone and then she does something for me in return. And I don't do it just to get, but I do it because I love to see their response. I love to see how they respond and how my son responds, how my wife responds. And so that's what you want to do. Sometimes sending an encouraging text message or an email to another person and just saying, hey, friend, I'm thinking about you. I hope you're doing well. I haven't heard from you in a while. I just want to let you know I'm thinking about you, or I'm praying for you, or whatever it is that you can do to encourage that person. Because one of the things is, we're here for a moment. This life was temporary. We're here for, maybe if we're lucky, 80, 90 years. But if you're not, you may have 50 years and you don't know. Tomorrow's not promised. But what you can do is your words can stay with people forever. People will remember how you made them feel long after whatever you did for them. You could do an activity and I don't remember the activity, but I know they made me feel really valued. They made me feel really good. And it can work the opposite. Monica and I, we're building a house right now. We're in the middle of buying things from vendors, and we went into a vendor and we were there to buy some stones for the house and to put in the house. And he just made us feel like, didn't feel good. And we walked out of there and I'm like, wow, that guy kind of put us down without even, he just, we told him we had a 6-year-old. He goes, wow, that's kind of late in life to have it. It just made us feel kind of old. I'm not that old. I feel like I'm 28. I'm not that 28, but I feel like it. So I'm going to think I'm 28. And he made me feel like I was 68. And I'm like, okay. And I walked out feeling de-energized, feeling a bit disgusted, and I don't think I need to buy your product. I mean, he might have had the best product in the world, but the way he made me feel, the social drain that he had, zapped energy from me. I was going in there going, "Oh, I like your products. That looks good. Looks good." And I walked out going, "Why did he just make me feel bad? I'm going to find another vendor." Now, is that the right thing to do? Probably not. Maybe he has the best product. But we are human beings, and we need social energizing, social uplifting. We need to be feeling like we're working with people that are going to lift us up and not beat us down. That's so important. And you want to work with people like that. You want to have leaders that lift you up and not beat you down. You want to have employees that say, "Hey, you're doing a great job, boss. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for the raise. Thank you for, for giving me this job and this." You want, and like, no, thank you because you make this company better. Or thank you, students, because I'm here for you. You give me value to my dream as a teacher. So again, these are some things. It's all social resilience. It's all social toughness. We get energized by people around us, the people we work with, the people in our life and our family. They're gonna lift you up, or they're gonna bring you down. They're gonna be elevator people to elevate you up, or they may bring you down. You need to make decisions on how to spend your time with these people and how to do that. Now, my last thing here was attend a celebration. That is another way, an activity, right? It could be a celebration for yourself. It could be a celebration for someone else. But by celebrating with a group of people, you get uplifted. You get strengthened. It is a power up when you can celebrate someone who's retiring after 50 years or 40 years, or they're celebrating their 50th anniversary, or just celebrating the birthday of their 1-year-old. I mean, wow. Celebrating with others, it lifts you up. It energizes you. So that is social resilience. So those are the 4 areas. How do we do that? Well, in the book Atomic Habits, James Clear, he outlines that. And I like Duhigg's book, The Power of Habit, as well. It's Charles Duhigg and The Power of Habit. So you can read the Power of Habit from Charles Duhigg and Atomic Habits from James Clear. Those are 2 good books on habits. They say a lot of the same things in theory. James Clear in his Atomic Habits book has a little more application. That's what I can see the difference. But a lot of times it comes down to cue. I think Charles Duhigg said cue, routine, reward. That's what he did. Cue, routine, reward. And James Clear, he said cue or trigger. Craving is what he talked about. And response, and then reward. So 4, he had 3 and he had 4, 3 and 4. What's the difference? Okay. In essence, let's talk about the way James Clear does it, because it's a little more detailed. In both cases, you have a cue, a trigger that gets you going. If we want to activate the power-ups, these 4 areas of resilience, we've got to figure out, when do we need these power-ups? What happens what's going to happen that we need to implement them? So if you're Super Mario and you're Little Mario and he's having a hard time, he's low on energy, he needs to find those power-ups, whatever that is, like a mushroom or whatever thing that was that he ate. He eats it and he gets big, right? You've got to understand when is the cue to do that. So you have to make your cue obvious. Again, like if you want water, keep water on your desk. Keep it visible. So then when you see the water, you drink the water. I tell you, that feels so good. Energizes me. Make the cues obvious. Obvious. That means put them around. So like if you need to have that audio playlist, have it on your phone and have it like right there, 1 click away, make a shortcut to it so that when you feel down, I'm going to hit that playlist and, Siri, play playlist Energize. And she'll start playing the Energize playlist. Or Google, play this. And so again, making it obvious for you when you need it. That is that cue, making your trigger obvious so that it's there all the time. So it's kind of like putting the cookies on the lower shelf so that you don't have them way high and it's so hard to activate the power up. So that's number one, making the trigger, making the cue obvious. And number two is you have to be intentional. So one of the ways you can be intentional is to make an intentional statement. So your statement may be, I will, whatever this behavior is, play my playlist when I feel, down, depressed, angry at this time. It could be the time of the day or when this emotion occurs. And I should have said at the location or the environment. So whenever it is, at home, at work, wherever that environment is. But you're going to say, I'm going to do this. So when you think about this, think of the 4 areas of resilience, the 4 areas that you need power-ups in. Start thinking about intentional statements for each one of these areas, because you need power-ups in every one of these areas. This is what you're going to do. To activate the power-up, you make this intentional statement. It's kind of like you drill it in your mind. You say it over and over and over again. I am strong. I am healthy. Okay, I'm going to play my playlist. When my boss tells me I didn't do a good job on the report, and instead of being angry, I'm gonna do this right away, like 5 minutes after he tells me, and I'm gonna do it at my desk. I'm gonna hit my playlist, and I'm gonna get happy. I'm gonna play the happy song from Pharrell and say, "Happy, I'm just happy." I forget that I can't sing again, but anyway, you get the idea. I'm gonna be happy. That is what you need to do. That is being intentional, making those intentional statements. The third thing here, the last point here, is habit stack. Habit stack. So after the current habit, I will do the new habit. So one of the things that we can do to make it easier to do a new habit is to place it right after an existing habit, some current habit you do. So for an example, every day you may make a cup of coffee. I mean, that's like, I make my cup of coffee every morning religiously. I don't do anything without that cup of coffee. And so then you could say, well, I need to plan my day. That's what I need to do to energize myself. So then after that cup of coffee, imagine, visualize, make note, but put the habit of planning your day while you're drinking that cup of coffee. So as soon as that cup of coffee is made, the first thing you're going to do is plan your day. Think about your day. I'm going to have to do this. If I get nothing else done today, I'm going to get this done, then this. And this is going to energize you. This is going to get you powered up for the morning, for the day. So that is habit stacking. You put a new habit right after, adjacent to an existing habit. And that's what doing that allows you to kind of latch on to something you already do and make it easier to do the new thing. Those are 3 things you can do to activate the power-ups. There's probably so many more things. We'll be talking about some other ways when you get allies. Allies are people who help you do, achieve your goals. And your allies can do some of these power-ups with you. Think of something you would do and you're like, hey, but if I want to get with my friend, Joe, John, whatever it is, Susie, I'm going to do it with them. So as soon as I meet with them, we're going to do this activity together. We're going to do the power up together. Maybe we'll we'll read a book together. We'll get inspired to do this, work on our business plan together, work on our career plan together. But do that and it'll power you up when you bring in other people. So that's not written out there, but bringing in your allies can help you activate these power-ups. So I hope these are making sense to you. We've got the four areas of resilience. That's your physical resilience, and that is your mental resilience, and that is your emotional resilience, and then your social resilience. Those are the 4, and this is how you activate the 4. Now, all of this comes back to our challenge format. So here is the challenge format. If you've been following along, we've talked about challenging yourself, setting goals, completing activities, and creating the quest. And defeating the villains was our last lesson. Today, we're talking about collecting and activating the power-ups. And why is this important when it comes to the whole thing of increasing your income? It's important because if you're going to go on the challenge of increasing your income, you're going to have to do these things. You're going to have to make the challenge to yourself. Create the quests and activities. That means if you're at one of your assignments was to create a vision, and let's say, okay, we're in week 4, we're in week 5, and you haven't created your vision. The vision is critical because you have to see where you're going. Where are you driving to, right? You're not going to get in the car and just start driving. Some people do, just to get out of, maybe that's a emotional resilience, brings me up, getting in my car. But most people have a place they're trying to go to. And that is what you're trying to achieve, your goal. For the 90-day challenge here, you want to achieve a specific thing. That's your challenge. You're going to set up the goal. You're going to create quest, activities. Yeah, quest is usually multiple activities. When you get that one thing done, you're moving towards your goal. The villains are going to hold you back. Today, we're talking about the power-ups. Those power-ups in those 4 areas of resilience, that's what's going to help you achieve the goal. Whenever you're feeling down, let's say your goal is, I have to create a business plan. I don't feel like creating a business plan. What is that? You feel down? Is it maybe emotional? You feel down? Well, then activate a power-up. Call up a friend, a mentor who's going to lift you up, encourage you, inspire you. Say, you know what? You're right. This business is worth doing it. I have a purpose. I want to fulfill the purpose. You brought me up. You raised me up. And now I'm going to do it. That power-up is going to help you. That's how it falls back into increasing your income. You're never going to increase your income until you make the change, until you do the activity. And how do you do the activity when you feel down and out? You feel physically not able? You power up. And so you activate, you collect, and you activate your power-ups. Have those photos that lift you up. Have them on your favorites. So then you open up that favorites and you look at them and you're like, there's my wife, there's my son. Now I know why I'm doing this. Now I'm strengthened. I'm going to do that. And again, that is what you're doing this for. Every movie you see, right? There's always a movie where the guy is a hero and he's like looking at the picture of his wife and his son and he's like, I'm doing it for them. And he goes and does some courageous thing. Same thing for us. Your courageous thing is to act to increase your income, to maybe work on your career, work on your business, work on your nonprofit, work on whatever that is your goal is. But the power-ups are going to get you there. They're going to help you get there. They're going to move you towards that. Now, we still have a few more lessons. We're talking about recruiting your allies and identifying your secret identity and celebrating the victory. Those are going to come. But I want you to, talk about our homework, our action items right now. Your job, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to create 3 power-ups for each of the 4 areas of resilience. 3 power-ups. So that's 3 times 12. 3 times 4, 3 times 4, 12 different power-ups. Each resilience area. Physical, mental, emotional, and social. Those areas of toughness. So you're going to create how many? 3 for each category, a total of 12. That's what your goal is. To try to do that, work on that this week. Set some time aside to do that. And then also the action item is to establish a strategy to implement the power-up. When are you going to do that? What are your intentional statements? What people are you going to do it with? Where are you going to do it with? What is a trigger? And are you going to habit stack it next to something else? What are you doing? So that is your action items, your homework to do that. As always, I want to tell you, you can check us out at financialchampionacademy.com, financialchampionacademy.com, or you can also join our newsletter at financialchampion.net. So we have our website.net and financialchampionacademy.com. That's our community. And we're doing this because we want to see you increase your income. We want to see you become a financial champion. And I just want to end that with saying, why am I doing this? Why have my wife and I formed this company called Financial Champion? Because we want to see you succeed. We want to see you live out your dreams. This is my dream to help you achieve your dream. And again, that's why I'm doing this. As I always say, I want to see you thrive. I want to see you take your finances to the highest level. And I always want to remind you, and I want you to say this with me, say, I am a financial champion. Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. I am a financial champion. We'll see you at the next lesson.